Last week, we asked if you support House Bill 49, which would end the observance of daylight savings time in Texas. 64% of you said yes, you do. As always, we thank you for sharing. There's been a lot of talk on this show and others recently about whether or not the changes in leadership of the Texas Tech University system and the actions of its regents have been too politically motivated. KMAC's Avery Travis looked through campaign finance records and talked to a former regent to see how politics might be at play in higher education.
Just a few months until the next Texas legislature gavels in, with some big initiatives on Texas Tech's agenda: a dental school, a mental health institute, and most importantly, a vet school planned for Amarillo, an initiative Robert Duncan championed.
Those initiatives really help bring our system into national prominence.
But in the middle of those preparations, he suddenly retires. Many blaming Board of Regents Chair Rick Francis.
Well, he was behind the firing of Chancellor Duncan. You know, when you got a snake, the first thing you do is chop off its head.
It is time for a change in leadership.
His resignation, another big shakeup. But many speculate there are bigger forces influencing these decisions.
I, for one, will never understand why Bob Duncan was forced to resign.
Former Regent Wendy Sitton says the vet school's been in the works for years since she was on the board.
But we could never get it off the ground, and I think it's because A&M, you know, is a very powerful school, a wonderful school, but a good lobby. And the thing that's so interesting to me is that Bob Duncan becomes chancellor, and guess what? He is securing the vet school. He got it done where the rest of us couldn't get it done, and we oust him.
This is about a vet school, and it's about a chancellor at another university that has a long political career with a lot of political power. I mean, you can't take politics out of the politics.
We took a look at the politics, digging through campaign finance records and millions of donations to discover every single Texas Tech regent had donated thousands to Governor Greg Abbott as of this August. And all but one donated to the governor who appointed them. But that seems to be common practice across the state, with all but one University of Texas regent donating to the governor, and the same for Texas A&M.
How political can those spots on the Board of Regents get?
The positions, of course, are political because they're appointed by the governor.
But Sitton says politics should never get in the way of the greater goals of the system.
Because the commonality that all board members have is their love, care, concern for Texas Tech. And every decision made by a regent should have that goal in mind.
The board says the mission is still the same in spite of these leadership changes.
We may have reshuffled chairs just a little bit, but I think you've got still all of the other people that have been behind the scenes working to make Texas Tech everything it can be.
And the governor says he's on board.
I have supported the vet school, and I will continue to support whatever the mission is.
With the new chancellor settling in and those legislative preparations continuing, Robert Duncan says he's just ready to be a volunteer for Tech and assist Chancellor Mitchell in any way he can.
He's the right choice at this time, and I think Ted and I work very well together. And in the legislative process, I know that we can work well together as well.
If and when that vet school comes on board, I'll be the first in line to name that after Senator Bob Duncan.
We reached out to A&M about all of this, and they're still against the creation of a second vet school. Their full statement, though, is up on our website. But during our reporting, we came across something else interesting. Wendy Sitton tells us she wonders what all of this would look like if the board was more diverse. In fact, she was one of just 12 women to ever serve on the Texas Tech Board of Regents. UT and A&M have similar makeups, with 20 and 11 women serving on their boards, respectively. Sitton and many of you have also wondered about whether a board should feature a resident of that home university, for instance, Lubbock. Now, here's a look at where our regents live across the state. A while back, we asked the board about this. Take a listen.
It depends on how you define diverse. If you just strictly go male-female, obviously not. But the other diversity that we're responsible for is we need to be represented around the state. To Houston, to Dallas, which is representative because that's where a lot of our students come from. You've got me, I'm from Abilene. And so I'm kind of in the West Texas portion of that. I think it's hard to get all of that diversity.
Lancaster added we may see changes during the next round of regent appointments from the governor. And on a personal note, he says he'll be moving to serve from Lubbock this coming January. Now we have a closer look at the makeup of all of these university boards and some other facts and figures on our website, everythinglubbock.com.
All right, Avery, thank you so much, and we'll be back with the final word.